Hello, hello, hello. Looks like I have audio. What's going on? What's going on? Man, you and me both, Mars girl. Let's just manage to wander in on time. What a week it has been. What a weekend it has been for everyone, I am sure. Hello, welcome. I am not dressed up for this occasion. Mostly because fuck this guy, and I like to, both verbally and physically and like just with my general vibe demonstrate how little of a fuck I give and how much disrespect I like to put on people's names. So, I hope everybody's doing okay. Happy Monday. If you need to take a break, I appreciate that. Today we are going to be looking at The Umbrella Guy. You might be hearing a little bit you might be hearing a little bit of background noise. That is my kettle, as it is loud as fuck. Why is it loud as fuck? I have no idea. It seems to only be getting louder. I clean it, like, weekly. I don't know. It's fine. So, last time we talked about the Yellow Flash, and the Yellow Flash proceeded to demonstrate how he doesn't know what he's talking about, likes to lie, and also is, like, kind of just a little bit of a goober. Like, he's kind of just like a little pissant. Before that, we talked about Nick Rekieta, because we're using him as kind of our, like, starting point for a lot of this. And we found out he doesn't know what actual malice is, or he's lying. And I think we definitively decided he was a lying dipshit. And now we were back to Umbrella Guy, where we're going to go through his Vic Mignogna playlist. We're going to pick something kind of, like, in the middle ways. So we started with what their first videos were. Now we're on their middle ways videos. And then in the next couple of weeks, we'll look at their last videos. So, if we go to That Umbrella Guy and his channel, as we are looking at it, currently sitting at around 390,000 subscribers, and we search Vic. Yippee! So, this only has 8 videos in it. And he's only updated it as of 4 years ago, but that's not actually accurate to his videos if you notice the search. Worst scum busted, Vic Mignogna breaks his silence and exposes the truth 2 years ago? 2 years ago. So he made a playlist and then stopped adding to it, but kept talking about the topic, I guess. They get the loudest around 80 degrees Celsius because the bubbles are collapsing or some shit. The moment it's loudest is the time to turn it off. If you're making coffee, if you're making tea, let it boil. Oh, we let it... Listen, if my tea is not burning my mouth, what's the point? You know what I mean? There we go. Okay, so we have a decision to make here, and I want to know what you guys think about this, because we've got one from 5 years ago, which is another voice actor under attack. Winnie the Pooh gets Vic Mignogna treatment. We've got the worst scum busted. We've got from 4 years ago, Vic Mignogna keeps winning, always being classy. It's for the fans. He's got a different playlist, which is for, like, the accusers. And this has 5 years ago, 4 years ago. My Fifis will sue. Yeah, okay. Sure. Vic Mignogna in Appeal 4 years ago. Ron and Monica have to afraid. What? Oh, Chloe, I will give you a TLDR. Too long didn't read. A creepy voice actor who's been a creep for years was voice acting for a character that he had voice acted before. However, this time the movie got a lot of eyes on it, and in doing so and getting a lot of eyes on it, a lot of people who care found out that this guy was a fucking creep, and so he kind of got his contract with Funimation terminated, and his contracts and his being invited to being a guest at places. People didn't want him there anymore because he's a creep. And so some creeps on the internet decided to, like, bolster and boost up his creepiness and decided he wanted to sue people for defamation. So they ran a GoFundMe that nobody's ever seen receipts for and hired a, not a defamation lawyer, a real estate lawyer. and then lost at every turn, and he tried to appeal and lost his appeals. And now we're looking back at this retrospective of these fucking losers who boosted up this creep, and seeing if they had, what they were saying at the time had any merit to it, or if it was just kind of a giant circle jerk, i.e., it was just kind of a circle jerk, and I have no idea why anybody bought into these people in the first place. His career took a Nick Fuentes. Ugh, good God. Alright, so what guys, which... So he did a bunch of videos 5 years ago, a few 4 years ago, and then like a couple more recently. So we watched the accused equals guilty, right? So we gotta go to like 4 years ago. We must. More proof revealed. Monica Rial accidentally redeemed Vic Mignogna. Yeah, that didn't happen. Vic wrecks his haters live after ban from LA Con. Is that supposed to be light? It's because of them. Funimation blames their Vic Mignogna statement on "I stand with Vic fans?" ? I mean, yeah, you were they were harassing people, so yeah. Okay, let's go back to the playlist. What's the last one in the playlist? Oops, sorry. You'll notice that I'm pressing the wrong button a little bit. Please forgive me. I have my mouse flipped. Oh, God, that huge, breaking huge Mignogna win as appeals are approved. Great news. Okay, let's go with this one. We're gonna mute that. We're muting this whole CGI shtick, because it has no closed captions on it, so, get fucked, I guess.
Hey there, so today I want to bring you a quick Vic Mignogna update, talking about where exactly the appeals process is. Now, I haven't been doing a lot of Vic Mignogna related material lately either, because we know who the bad guys are out there. We know where the case sits, and really, I want to talk about court matters, maybe cancel culture every now and then, but I don't want to drum on and on about the subject matter we already know. This how
God, this guy's such a little prick, isn't he? Oh, okay. So, this video was streamed on, or posted on, let me just... You know, sometimes I forget, like, I take a couple of days off and I forget, like, how stupid everything is, and then I come back and I listen to somebody say something like that. It's just very fucking dumb. So this was 4 years ago. Oh God, I hit the... I clicked the hashtag, you son of a bitch. No, stop. December 12th, 2019. So, to be clear, where was the lawsuit? He's just gonna skip over all that part, but where was the lawsuit in December of 2019? Was it Vic had lost and had his shit thrown out, which is why we're looking at the appeals paperwork? You'll notice there's no playlist, or there's nothing in the playlist here that explains where the lawsuit was at. I stand with Vic, threatened with jail. Media passes revoked. So Vic isn't inclusive? Pensacon ? So, as per his playlist, no, we don't know where the lawsuit is at this point. It's almost like he doesn't want to tell people where the lawsuit is at because it was an abject failure and it was an embarrassment. It was an embarrassment when you brought it forward. Hell, the Yellow Flash in the last video that we watched accidentally admitted that he had no defamation case because it was people's opinions. So, this is December of 2019. Okay. Do you think his audience knows what an appeal is? meaning that Vic lost and had to appeal, but we know who the bad guys are. This language is so narratively driven, right? It's not facts. It's just, that's your opinion. And your opinion is based on what? Nothing. So it's bullshit, which might make it defamation.
On an update talking about where exactly the appeals process is. Now, I haven't been doing a lot of Vic Mignogna related material lately either, because we know who the bad guys are out there. We know where the case sets, and really, I want to talk about court matters, maybe cancel culture every now and then, but I don't want to drum on and on about the subject matter we already know.
Just to be clear real quick, he is essentially relying on his fan base, sharing a fan base with Rekieta Law and the Yellow Flash and his friends, so that way, like, when he says we already know what's going on, he's relying that his fan base is already getting information from these other two friends of his. So, I mean, in some ways that's kind of reasonable, and in other ways it's just like you're sending people on a wild goose chase and not being very clear about your messaging. Or you're being specifically vague on purpose because you want to send people to go digging into and get caught in your horse shit. And make it difficult, or at least more difficult, for people to actually debunk what you're saying because you're not actually saying anything. I would like to remind everybody that the bad guys are the people who said it was not okay for Vic Mignogna to be touching and hugging people, some of which were underage. That was not a good thing to do. Those are the bad guys he's referring to. Just a quick reminder that those are the bad guys. All right, go on.
This, however, is different because this involves the appeals process, and it tells us where exactly we are and where we're going forward. Now, currently, Law Twitter and KickVic, they've been telling us that Vic Mignogna, he would not have an appeal. Why? Because stuff was filed too early, because there was a lack of jurisdiction, because of 1,000,001 different reasons to go out and apply laugh track. Well, you know what? Those folks were wrong. They were dead wrong. That's right. Motion denied, baby. Motion denied. Appeals are on. Now we're going to...
Why is it warbling like that? Like, why is this... Okay. Of course he's not going to cite what anybody actually said. He's just going to claim that that's what these people have said. And given, like, their lack of understanding of due legal process up until this point, I'm going to, bank that I can't rely on ThatUmbrellaGuy to actually accurately explain what these lawyers were saying, because words are hard. So I'm gonna go with a citation needed that anybody with any merit said what UmbrellaGuy said they did, but also with context, please. I would like to know if what they were saying was actually, even if he appeals, it's going to get thrown out, like it's not going to go anywhere, which they were 100% right, because it didn't go anywhere. Again, we're looking at this video in the year of our Lord 2024.
Look at this in just a second, but if you like this kind of content, you want to help an umbrella out, help us with our interactions. That means subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for doing this, passing this everywhere, because everyone needs to know that cancel culture cannot win. They have to.
Yeah, don't forget and like and subscribe, so that way me, UmbrellaGuy, can stop cancel culture that's not happening. It's really important. Okay.
To be challenged at every front, and this was a big one here. And also, interactions mean commenting, interactions mean liking, letting that video play just a little bit more there, because this stuff, it's good. It's good that this is happening. And well, like I said, we want to get the word out to everyone. So in the Court of Appeals, Second Appellate District of Texas at Fort Worth, you see that Vic Mignogna is the appellant versus Funimation Productions, LLC, Jamie Marquis, Monica.
If anybody wanted to look this up, it is case number 02-19-00394-CV. There you go.
Rial Rontoy Appeals. Also, if you don't know this case, I will give you the very, very bare bones description at the end. But yeah, so
at the end, you're gonna give people the TLDR at the end of the video, not the beginning of the video. Okay.
We have considered the appellee's motion to dismiss appeal for lack of subject matter jurisdiction and as premature. The motion is denied. That's right. It is denied, baby. We direct the clerk of this court to send a notice of this order to the attorneys of record, the trial court judge, and the trial court clerk, dated December 11, 2019. So, essentially, what you're being told here is everything you've had spun at you, telling that it's too early to go out and file an appeal. This is a jurisdiction issue. Yeah, all of that is off the table. What's more, is we've seen telegraphed what these people want to do. They want to take out certain affidavits. You know what? They're not going to be able to do this time. The own words of Ron Toy, the own words of Monica Rial, those things will be considered by other folks out there. And what they did, their heinous acts, oh yeah, it's going to drag them down. I think...
Sorry, that's a lot to unpack. What they did, their own words, their heinous acts, such as what? Having an opinion about Vic Mignogna that you personally disagree with? What heinous acts are you referring to? This is a defamation case. This is a case about whether or not... Okay, so this is one of the things. Hi, Puck. Can I help you? Would you like to come here? Would you like to come here? Do you want to say hi to everybody? You want to say hi? Yeah? Hello? Come here. Hi. Hello, Puck. Yes. Emotional support doggo. Yes, you do. Okay, alright, get out of here. Thank you. You're very cute. I don't have any food for you. I only have tea. You don't want that. So, one of the fun things about this is specifically in a retrospective, is that, like, we already have all the documentation. We already know where all the documentation is going to go. We don't have to speculate, right? We know where everything is. We know how everything played out. Yes, his appeal was filed and it was accepted by the court. That's normal. This is normal. This is all usual things. People thinking that it's, like, shouldn't even be accepted in the first place is fine. People can have those opinions. But and they can speculate that, well, it's got these jurisdiction issues and it's got that, but that might not be enough, or it might be enough, and I think this and I think that. Lawyers are allowed to have conversations amongst themselves where they have opinions about the way a court or a judge will handle something. It's not unusual for an appeal to be accepted. And then subsequently tossed out, which is what happened. Ty Beard erroneously filed all 3 affidavits, one where they forged Vic's signature, and all the other ones where the signees weren't actually there, so it was fraud. Oh, I remember this, yes. So when the court figured it out, Ty tried to remove the appeals from his filing, and now he was going to try and add it back into the appeals, except you can't add more info into an appeal. That is correct. The appeals judge have to look at the case as it was originally presented. Ty can't slap new information into appeals at that stage. Yes, that's correct. That is not how it works. It does not surprise me that umbrella guy does not understand how any of these things work. This is why anytime he says, oh, well, these people said that, and these erroneous, these horrible actions these people take, this is all flowery language. This is all just, like, spin. This is all just, oh, I'm gonna make this into a really big deal about something about appeals. It's like, okay, well, which appeals? What are you talking about? You'll notice that none of this info is readily available in this video. We're already halfway through this video. So what are you talking about, sir?
think that if anyone, any reasonable person saw that stuff, they would think, what in the world happened behind the scenes? And how was this not defamation? How was this not tortious interference? These people...
No, they literally won't. Because the judge didn't. And actually the most reasonable... if you take Vic Mignogna's name out... If you were to talk to, let's take for example, let's say I was going to have a conversation with a Yellow Flash, for example. Anybody. Some Vic Mignogna fan. Robbie. Robbie's around. Robbie, if you're here. If I were to have a conversation with Robbie, and I took Vic Mignogna's name out of me describing what happened, Robbie would agree with me. Why do I know this? Because I've done it before. I've had conversations with Robbie in the comment sections of my videos about Vic Mignogna, and we remove Vic Mignogna's name from the description of what's happening, and he agrees that these are bad things, or agrees that, well, that's just an opinion. But as soon as you put Vic Mignogna's name into it, suddenly, oh, well, now, no, it's okay. No, that's not alright, that's this, that's that, that's the other thing. Nobody's gonna look at this and think what that umbrella guy is saying. That's why he has to say it over and over again, to convince you that this is what's happening. That's why he has to not show things. That's why he has to be vague in his language. That's why he has to use all of this blowing things out of proportion and making it, we're fighting this war of cancel culture. And it's like, no, what you're doing is you're actually fighting to allow somebody who's a creepy creep to go be allowed to creepy creep and put people in danger. That's what you're fighting for.
They tried to burn this man down. So if you don't know what happened within this trial, just boiling it down quickly. What you had in January, around the beginning of it, moving into about the 17th, you saw Kick Vic being formed. This was aimed at the voice actor Vic Mignogna to dare down his life on, well, rumor, on innuendo. And you know what? These days, that's...
Well, that's a lie, because we literally just watched those videos and what it was about. So that's a misrepresentation. A gross misrepresentation at best. There were stories that had pictures verified. Vic Mignogna admitted to doing those things. As this court went on, we also had the depositions in which Vic admitted to trying to solicit sex from two considerably younger than him people he thought were fans of his twins at a convention that he admitted he stalked them around at. So, that's a lie. a gross one at that. Like, listen, people lie. It happens. If you're human, people lie. My issue with people lying is when you lie poorly. At least, at minimum, respect your audience's intelligence, that they're gonna know when you're lying to them if you lie this badly. So if you're gonna lie to your audience, at least, like, try to do a good job. But, come on now. The evidence of this, the evidence that these people keep asking for is video, is admissions, is pictures, is in text. Like... Yellow Flash literally showed it on screen and then misrepresented it directly. So to hear that umbrella guy in December of 2019 be like, oh, all of it was just hearsay and innuendo. It's like, no, it was pretty direct. Some of those accusations are very, very direct. But again, we get to do this fun thing where we can say, all right, let's take out every accusation made about Vic Mignogna out the window. All of them. Every single one of them. Let's pretend they don't exist. You still have to contend with the things that Vic has said he did and the things that Vic is currently doing. And the things that Vic is currently doing are admitting that he was touching people without their consent, admitting he was following fans around at cons and then inviting them back to his room for sex. And they were twins, which is illegal. And you have him showing and waving his underwear around on stream. And you have him being grossly homophobic and racist on streams with Alex Stein. So how are you going to contend with all of that? How are you going to contend with him, like, making Holocaust jokes? Like, It's not, you don't need to use these additional claims, some of which are very much verified. So even if you were to take those out, he's still not somebody you would want at a convention. He's still not somebody you want working for him. He's too much of a liability. Ostensibly because of the way he handled this. And the way you guys handled this. The way this case was handled by people online. Specifically because of the harassment campaigns that took place against anybody who was talking about this. Including Mars Girl, including Jamie, including Monica. Right? Funimation employees, con employees, the harassment that took place by the I Stand With Vic people that were bolstered by this GoFundMe and this frivolous lawsuit where you had no case. And you sending your fan base after these people calls to action. Associating with Alex Stein should be illegal on its own. So you have this issue where, like, even if you were not to take these things, you understand that because of people like ThatUmbrellaGuy and Nick Rekieta and the Yellow Flash, etc., etc., and their fan bases, their very, very toxic, caustic fan bases, and Vic Mignogna's fan base also being incredibly toxic and caustic, and very much a group that will go and harass people on Vic Mignogna's behalf, whether Vic Mignogna says he wants them to or not. I have a video about plausible deniability, and you can go watch that if you're interested. Is not... You've still got a person who is unhireable, in any real sense. You can't be bringing him to conventions because he can't control his fan base. And he inflames his fan base. And in doing in a way that is dangerous to other people. So either you get Vic Mignogna and nobody else will want to go, or you don't bring Vic Mignogna and everything goes on like normal. The dude hasn't been in anything in like 5 years anyway. He peaked in like 2010? Give or take? So like... His behavior has made him unhireable, and your behavior has helped make him unhireable. Like, what do you mean?
All it takes. You get a Twitter lynch mob rolling in, they decide to tear someone down, and they usually do it in a week. People did not want this to happen, however. They fought back. They were very vocal about it. And basically, you ran into opposition from the media. Opposition from anime companies, opposition from cancel culture, opposition from, well, they call them social justice warriors, NPCs, Puritans, whatever you want to call them these days. This went on for a while. Vic Mignogna stuff, it wouldn't go...
Puritans? You gotta know you're LARPing, right? Come on.
Away. It just kept getting uglier and uglier, so he decided to bring lawsuit forward. He said that these people were conspiring, they were basically ruining his name, and they were trying to destroy contracts that existed. This was a B party, and well, these people, they needed to see themselves out, and they didn't. So when that was brought forward, had a judge here that, well, it wasn't very friendly. And then you could talk about the court and how everything's set up in it too. I think that there were some other issues, but that's something.
I think it's telling that when UmbrellaGuy is trying to like present what has happened, he is very not talking about what Vic Mignogna actually did and what the issues were that people had with Vic Mignogna. Right? He's simply saying, oh, this mob of people came to for no reason and based on innuendos and cancel culture came after him and he decided to go to court. It's like, yeah, but what was their issue with him? What was the problem that people had with Vic Mignogna? And one of the things that I think people miss a lot in this, not most people who are critical of Vic Mignogna don't miss this, but I think most people who are like trying to help Vic Mignogna or are fans of Vic Mignogna miss, is that his reputation had been shit since the 80s. Like, he did not have a good reputation. His PR was okay, but, like, if you went to cons or if you worked with him, he did not have a good reputation. Then they like to turn that into, oh, he was just too Christian. It's like, yeah, whatever, Kevin Sorbo. Get the fuck out of here. Nobody cares.
Something else, another discussion altogether. But essentially all of that was dismissed, and some of it was absolutely crazy. For example, Ron Toy and Monica Rial, they contacted a convention behind the scenes. They told the convention that this guy was going to be investigated and arrested because he was going to be a specific type of predator.
How do you know that? How do you know that? The only thing we saw was when we had looked at it last week, we had seen that there was an affidavit that claimed some things, but that was never submitted and didn't actually conclude that in its affidavit. So where are you getting this information, Umbrella Guy? Because it sounds like you're putting a lot of extra stuff onto something that wasn't properly submitted. This was the guy that, by the way, for anybody who's catching up, this was a deposition that they were requesting, because we're going back here in a convention runner, whatever, wrote an affidavit that was submitted. There was then an attempt to bring him in for a deposition, and this guy was lauded by Vic Mignogna's side as being the guy that was going to take these guys down. That's what Umbrella Guy is bolstering them now, saying, hey, look, they did this thing. Look, this guy is telling us they definitively did this thing. And then Vic Mignogna, Tybeard's side, fought to make it so this guy did not have to do a deposition. We covered that when we were watching Nick Rekieta. It's insane. It doesn't make any sense. You don't want your key witness? You don't want this guy who's gonna, like, blow this whole thing out of the water to come and sit for a deposition? Why? Why would you not want that? And so even now, after it, now we're at the appeals, and Umbrella Guy is still, like, lauding this guy. Like, anything he said in his fucking, not deposition, the other thing, affidavit. Like, anything he said in his affidavit mattered. And when it didn't end up mattering. What the fuck?
They threatened the place with a walkout and with pulling money. And you know what? It worked. It worked very well at first. Then the place, they thought about it again. And, well, they invited the guy back. And after they did, all of the things that were threatened, they came to pass. Oh, it was...
Oh, you mean that Monica said that if Vic's there, I don't want to be there? And the guy said, okay, well, Vic won't be there. And then said, you know what? I'm going to let Vic be there. And she went, okay, well, I'm not going. That's normal. There's nothing weird about that. She has the right to do that. Is it because she's a woman you don't think she should have choices? I mean, I know what America's been doing recently, so, I mean, is that where this is coming from? Is it this idea that women aren't people and should just sit down and shut the fuck up? There's a man talking? Is that... I hate to be the bearer of bad news, everybody out there. I am not American, so you all can suck my nads.
Ugly. That kind of stuff, it was brought up in this beginning. We didn't even get to the trial phase because...
There's this whole idea going around about this a lot, actually, that Monica and Jamie shouldn't have rights. Like, they don't have a right to say no. Like, they don't have a right to have opinions about Vic Mignogna. Like, they don't have rights to have a voice. They don't have a right to not go to a convention. Whereas then the other, on the flip, it's like Vic Mignogna is entitled to be invited to these conventions. Like, it's part of, like, he should be there. That he just automatically gets to go regardless of whatever's going on. That nobody should care that there are women that don't want to be there, and the fact that they say that they don't want to be there and they express that if this person's there, I'm not going to go, that is somehow an attack on this other guy who... They're allowed to do that. They have the rights to do that. There's a very, very strong anti-woman sentiment that exists just slightly below the surface. It's not very well hidden. It's slightly below the surface of all this Kick Vic stuff. It is very much like, why is this woman talking and why is this woman having an opinion? Why doesn't she just sit in the corner and accept that Vic Mignogna is just a fucking creep? Like, Why should anybody? Like, what are you talking about?
Is apparently calling someone a P to the E to the D to the O is free speech. Yeah, someone needs to appeal that. Someone needs to appeal it indeed, especially when you're ruining careers. But anyway, this tells you that that is on track. The appeal has been granted. All of it's moving forward. Like I said, game on indeed. But let me know what you think about this. Also, I want to thank you for showing up. I want to thank you for participating. You make this stuff possible. You are the creator of endeavors. These people, they forget it, much to their folly, and hey, that's their prerogative. But anyway, I don't want to be them, so I want to spend every video in saying thank you. I appreciate you. You make this stuff, like I say, possible.
Yeah, okay, well, whatever. Blah, 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 blah. End of the thing. It's very odd to me. It's Hi, Puck. Welcome back. I don't have anything for you. Please go away. I appreciate you. No. So, I mean, I'm gonna watch the other one, but, like, I don't... Jesus, you okay? No? What are you... He's fine. You okay? Yeah, he's fine. Dog agrees. Yeah, but yeah, Puck agrees. Gag me with a spoon. Like, that's their prerogative. Okay, maybe it's just me. But I've noticed this common thread among ThatUmbrellaGuy and Yellow Flash and Nick Ricada. And it seems to be that they are pseudo-intellectuals. They try to present things as if they are intelligent, as if they are smarter than they are, as if they have more to say than what they actually have to say. Hi, Puck. I'm trying to do a show. I appreciate you. I have nothing for you. I have no snacks. I have nothing. I have love. That's all I have. Go away. He will not. He has chosen. Boop. Ethan sent you a boop. Boop. Okay, I'm trying to do a show. Can you please let me... No. Not happening today. Not happening today. 2 videos are unavailable and hidden. I wonder what ones they are. Does he not have one that actually explains what happened in the lawsuit? Because none of these are actually... This is the appeal is in. This is a different one than this one. Wait, this is a different video. Wait, hold on. This is a different video that's 11 minutes long. That's from February 20th, 2022. What?
Vic Mignogna appellant brief is in, and it presents itself in what I thought was a pretty cohesive fashion. Now, in this document, you have 8 issues presented, and basically this is all arguing that the trial court dismissing X, Y, or Z, that was reversible error. Number 1, though, dismissing defamation, that was reversible error. Number 2, dismissing tortious interference with existing contracts, that's a reversible error. Number 3, dismissing tortious interference with prospective business relations. That's reversible error. Number 4, dismissing Funimation LLC from vicarious liability. That was reversible error. Number 5, saying there was no conspiracy is reversible error. Saying that number 6...
All right, hold on. What is reversible error? Anybody in the chat, does anybody know what reversible error is referring to in this legal documentation? No, UmbrellaGuy never actually updated his fucking playlist. Yeah, reversible error. This is the appeal paperwork. Right, this, if you'll notice right here. Hold on, let me put it back a little bit. Court of Appeals, Second Jurisdiction, Funimation LLC, 02-19-00394-CV. Yeah. Reversible error in legal terms, this isn't specifically in Texas. So this is, again, we're back to one of the problems with people like ThatUmbrellaGuy. He's not going to tell you what a reversible error is. He's just going to use the language as if that means what... It's not, that's never that simple in law. Standard for reversible error. This is case text, right? Rule 44.1, reversible error in civil cases. Standard for reversible error, no judgment may be reversed on appeal on grounds that the trial court made an error of a law unless the Court of Appeals concludes that the error complained of, 1, properly caused the rendition of an improper judgment, or probably prevented the appellant from properly presenting the case to the Court of Appeals. Error affecting only part of the case. If the error affects part of, but not all, the matter in controversy, and that part is separable without unfairness to the parties, the judgment must be reversed, and a new trial ordered only as to part affected by the error. The court may not order a separate trial solely on unliquidated damages if liability is contested. That's Texas. That's what the standard for a reversible error is. The appellant, Vic, is saying, I think you got this shit wrong. He just thinks it, and he's trying to convince the court to agree. The court did not yet agree. Well, surprise, surprise. But, yeah, this is why this is... Oh, God, alright. How do I explain this in very simple terms? That Umbrella Guy is not a legal YouTube channel, right? He is not a lawyer. He doesn't present to be a lawyer, right? When you make a video to an audience that is not there with any kind of legal savvy that you've been working on, where you've built that base where they understand what these terms mean in context, then you need to explain the terms. My audience is not wholly legally savvy. Neither am I. I am not a legal expert. I do not pretend to be a legal expert. So I pull up the terms that we're talking about, so that way we know what the fuck we're talking about. So every time he's saying a reversible error, it needs to meet these standards. And it doesn't. It doesn't meet these standards.
Is a pretty cohesive fashion. Now, in this document, you have 8 issues presented, and basically this is all arguing that the trial court dismissing X, Y, or Z, that was reversible error. Number 1, though, dismissing defamation, that was reversible error.
How? Explain. Tell Elmo. In what way was this the trial court's dismissing appellant's claims against appellees for defamation is a reversible error? How? You're making YouTube content. In what way? You're just reading the paperwork.
Number 2, dismissing tortious interference with existing contracts. That's a reversible error. Number 3, dismissing tortious interference with prospective business relations. That's reversible error. Number 4, dismissing Funimation LLC from vicarious liability. That was reversible error. Number 5, saying there was no conspiracy is reversible error. Saying that number 6, I actually like this added here, not even looking at the second amended petition was reversible error.
I'm sorry, the second it was amended twice? And they didn't bother with it because of why? Because the submission was fucked up? Because Tybeard submitted the wrong thing, then pulled something out, and then pulled something out that he wanted to put back in, but he fucked it up? That thing? Is that the thing you're talking about? Hi, Feline. Umbrella Guy is trying to explain to us appeals, and he's getting it wrong.
Number 7, saying that the appellees presented legally insufficient or factually insufficient evidence to satisfy their burden under the TCPA and the trial court finding otherwise. That's reversible error. And then the sanctions. That was reversible error, saying that, Vic Mignogna had to pay legal bills. Now, as far as the statement of
So just to be clear for anybody who's catching up, that was Vic Mignogna's lawyer being read by that umbrella guy to say that the entire decision, every decision made by the court was just a reversible error. Oh no, don't worry, Feline. We already pulled up the Texas definition for reversible error because, Umbrella Guy decided he didn't want to tell anybody what it meant. There's literally nothing happening. I know, this is nothing. This is a big stinking hunk of nothing. What is this? Why are we here?
Fact goes. This is actually laid out, in my opinion, really well, but let's go through this and talk about it. So appellant Vic Mignogna, or Vic, is a voice actor whose voice is used for the English dubbing of Japanese anime production. Appellees Monica Rial and Jamie Marquis are also anime voice actors. Appellee Funimation Productions, LLC, primarily dubs Japanese anime productions in English, then distributes the videos in the U.S. via streaming access, and is hired Vic, Monica, and Jamie to provide their voiceover services. Most often, the voice actors recorded their lines at different times and locations instead of together in the studio. At times, however, they saw each other at Funimation's office, and Vic considered Jamie and Monica to be friends. The voice actor also appeared sometimes.
Oh yeah, that brings up another point that's a little bit of a contention with Vic Mignogna, right? Is that he just thinks everybody likes him and everybody's a friend if they don't, like, just be a dick to him. You say hi to him in the hallway, you guys are best friends now. Look out. He's just reading, he's narrating, he's not saying anything. Yeah, no, right now he is just reading and hasn't actually provided anything to the video. And so this video, let me just double check. Yeah, February of 2020. So okay, I'm trying to give him like a little bit of like rope here, of like leeway here to be like, okay, well maybe he's just gonna read through the entire court document, which, I mean, okay, fine, but it's very silly to me that I think that we're reading about, like, oh, who is Vic Mignogna? Gee, I don't know, never heard of him.
Times together at fan conventions where they participated in quote-unquote breakout sessions, sharing quote-unquote behind-the-scenes tidbits and answering fan questions, and were paid for autographs and photographs with fans, often hugging and sometimes giving kisses to their fans. On January the 22nd, 2009,
I'm sorry, did Vic's lawyer just say he was kissing his fans? You can't be serious. It's it. I want to go home. I want to leave. What the fuck? Why would, there goes the entire defense. Right, like, you've literally got the document. I can't. This is literally in the document. It is in the court documents that Vic Mignogna was hugging and kissing his fans. Period. So if anybody has an opinion about that thing, about whether or not they think that's appropriate based on any other context, his case is out the window. Gone. Goodbye. So long. You had no case. You never had a case. The case in appeals is bullshit. I don't know what to tell you. You had no case to begin with. This is every time these people are fucking complaining about cancel culture, it's them. They don't like people having opinions, and there being consequences for dudes. Almost exclusively. It's almost never women that they're complaining about. Well, at least they're not defending women from being canceled. They're only ever fucking defending some fucking dude out there from doing some heinous fucking behavior. And then they're just like, well, you're not allowed to have that opinion, because fuck you. There might be consequences for that guy's behavior if you talk about it, because then people are gonna know about it, and that makes it your fault, not his fault. This is, like, what are you, 2? Like, how old are you? Are you serious? The people talking about a thing that everybody acknowledges happens, that there are consequences for those actions, but you're gonna blame the people having the conversation? not the person doing the action? Like, how simple-minded do you have to be that you can't fucking grasp that people are allowed to have opinions and women are allowed to state that they're uncomfortable around somebody or draw conclusions based off of behavior? Like, women are allowed to do that the same way men are allowed to do that? And that sometimes, like, when women consolidate with each other to say, hey, this guy was creepy to me, and other women went, hey, yeah, he was creepy to me too, that creepy behavior that is being established might have consequences? Not huh? What? No, you. No, you. Fucking
19, Funimation initiated an internal investigation into Monica's allegations that, at a convention many years before, Vic had eaten a jelly bean, which Monica gave him, on which she had written her name, and joked that he ate.
Before we go on, I want to know, like, how Vic's lawyer is stating this as a fact, because we're in the statements of facts, right? So I would like to point out that statements of fact don't have to be literal facts. They're just what we're establishing, right? Our baseline, right? So you can contest any of these things, and that's fine. So this isn't, like, necessarily the case, but I want to know how you determined that this was the thing that initiated an investigation, right? Because, again, there was a lot going on around Vic Mignogna at that time, and right around that time, if I'm not mistaken, was the Sony takeover of Funimation. So an internal investigation makes sense. So I just want to know how you established that this is the definitive event that initiated an investigation. I don't think it's wrong. I just want to know if that's how you establish that. But go on, sorry.
At a convention many years before, Vic had eaten a jelly bean, which Monica gave him, on which she had written her name, and joked that he ate Monica. At a convention several years prior, Vic had propositioned 2 adult female fans, and that Vic and a coworker had kissed consensually at Funimation's office.
I like that consensually is in brackets. So he's making inappropriate jokes at a coworker, and the coworker filed an HR complaint. So that's normal. What's the problem here? What's the issue? So Vic was being a weirdo and making jokes that nobody else appreciated, and he was making jokes at his female coworkers, and they went to HR, which is normal. That's normal.
Though Funimation had not yet informed Vic of the investigation, Monica's fiancé, we're talking about Ron Toy here, began telephoning and texting Christopher Slaytosh, host of KamehaCon Convention, on January 22nd, 2019, that Funimation's parent company, Sony, was conducting an investigation into Vic assaulting 4 women, and that criminal charges would soon be filed against Vic. Monica told Slaytosh that Vic was a quote-unquote sexual predator, and that criminal charges would soon be filed against him. Both urged him to cancel.
Do you have any idea how much I would laugh my ass off if there were, like, criminal charges against Vic that, like, come out tomorrow? I would laugh my ass off about that, I'm not gonna lie. Because the thing was, like, you'll notice that throughout this entire process, and all the way up until before this process had even started, Vic's behavior remained consistent. Despite him being told to stop fucking doing this shit, he continued to do it. Now he's continuing to do it and acting like a victim about it. So him not going to conventions doesn't suddenly make him not a creepy fucking weirdo, right? So I will not be surprised to find out, like, if he's at, like, Alex Stein's studio and he's been inappropriate with somebody and he ends up with, like, charges. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm not saying that's happening. I'm simply saying that this dude has learned nothing, will never learn anything, and will continue this behavior until he gets, like, he'll eventually get hit with, like, something really aggressive. like, I don't know, some kind of sexual assault charge. Like, if you keep doing it, it's inevitable, right? Like, what the fuck? What are all these guys gonna do then?
Vic's invitation to KamehamehaCon, despite Slaytosh's objections that doing so would breach its contract with Vic and to refuse doing business with Vic in the future. Otherwise, Ronald's company would withdraw its financial sponsorship of the convention, and Monica would cancel her appearance and convince other voice actors to cancel their appearances. Slaytosh.
Okay, so what's the problem? What's the legal issue with them doing that? What's the legal issue? This is the appeal, right? This is in the appeals. So what is the legal, because that's not defamation. That is them saying, we don't want to work with this guy, and so we're not going to fund you if you're working with this guy. Where's the issue? The legal part of the issue. Whether or not you believe this is appropriate or not, or you think they should or should not have done that, or if you think that they're like, oh, they should have just went through with this year and then, like, canceled it next year, or whatever, right? That's your shitty opinion, I don't care. What is the legal problem with this? Because this is not tortious interference. They're saying if you're working with this guy, we're pulling our funding. They're allowed to do that. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but again, we're back to these people have rights. We don't circumvent people's rights for Vic Mignogna. Why would we do that? And if you think we should, why would we do that? Huh? In what world? What's the legal problem?
Complied with this. 2 days later, we're talking the 24th here, Ronald tweeted publicly, I know with 100% certainty that Vic assaulted 4 people I love. The next day, we have Tanny Denbo, Executive Director of Employee Relations at Sony, informing Vic of Monica's allegations, none of which involved abuse, assault, or harassment. Vic explained that the Monica Jellybean exchange was friendly banter many years ago, and that the kiss with a co-worker was consensual and occurred after a year of exchanging correspondence. Though
yes, we're back to men don't know what consent is. Because Vic's fifis are more important than anybody else's rights. I know, right? Vic has an inherent God-given right to a career, and he has the God-given right to go to conventions. Therefore, everybody should just put up with him and whatever he wants to do, because he's a fucking creep. Can I point out that all this is that Umbrella Guy, without any scrutiny, just restating these allegations without actually demonstrating any of them? This is, again, he's just reading the paperwork.
Miss Denbo admonished Vic that Sony's investigation was confidential. She and a co-worker, Lisa Gibson, gave Monica updates. Miss Denbo talked it through with her, and Miss Gibson encouraged her to hang in there. I mean, look how...
So you don't know what the word confidential means then, Umbrella Guy, because confidential those are different things. This is like when people misunderstand that your paycheck is confidential, right? So, like, your paycheck is confidential to the company. The company isn't allowed to tell anybody what you make. You're allowed to tell people whatever the fuck you want. It's your pay. If there's an investigation and the investigation is confidential, that means that the people that are doing the company isn't allowed to tell anybody. If you're part of an investigation that you initiated, it's your shit. You're allowed to talk about it. You might not be allowed to say what has been, like, the conclusion. You might not be allowed to say, there might be constraints in some of the things that you're allowed to say, but you're allowed to tell people you're part of an investigation, and you're allowed to tell people your side and what happened. This is like basic not understanding. Oh my fucking god. Feline added in, here's hold on, you said 2 things. Let me get both of them. Let me actually just move this so I can see it a little easier. There we go. Because, a year of exchanging correspondence is vague. It could be 1 or 2 responses back, whilst Vic sends 1 weekly for a year. And here's the kicker too. Even if there was cordial exchange years earlier, and later on there was some icky stuff, the cordial part does not negate nor excuse the icky stuff. The whole argument is that Vic tries is nothing but a red herring and deflection. Yeah, we're back to the matter of what is consent. Somebody could talk to Vic for years and not want to make out with him. Like, in fact, I would say probably the majority of people who have ever corresponded with Vic probably don't want to make out with him. So having cordial correspondence is absolutely meaningless. That means nothing. Even if they did have sexual banter, means nothing. You can flirt with somebody and have no intention of actually having sex with them. It's almost like there's, like, steps between these things that these guys just like to just jump over and pretend aren't a thing. Anyway, Umbrella Guy doesn't know what confidential means.
She and a co-worker, Lisa Gibson, gave Monica updates. Miss Denbo talked it through with her, and Miss Gibson encouraged her to hang in there. I mean, look how messed up this stuff is. After Miss Denbo and
how is it messed up? You're reading it off and then stating a conclusion without actually demonstrating how, like, what is messed up here? There was an incident. Vic was inappropriate. It went to HR. Investigation happened. They talked about it because they're allowed to talk about it. How messed up? Oh my god. What are you talking about? This is normal. This is normal. All of this is normal. Nothing in here is messed up. Nothing in here is untowards. Nothing in here is illegal. Nothing in here is even like a civil case. Why are we here? Why are you in court? Why are you even trying to appeal this? There's nothing. This is nothing.
Informed Vic of the investigation. Ronald launched a barrage of tweets against him. On January 25th, I have four people very close to me who had similar experiences with Vic. He assaulted them. On the 26th, you see.
Did my camera freeze? Let me just reset that real quick. Hi. You know, at least I noticed it fast enough.
See another one, the 28th, and then the 29th, Funimation abruptly terminated its contract with Vic. The next day, on January the 30th, both the Anime NYC and Anime Milwaukee conventions canceled Vic.
Wait, he's complaining about other people talking about their part of the investigation, but remember when Vic forwarded HR private emails to his makeup artist friend and argued that it was okay? Yeah. Yeah, they're complaining that this confidential, that 2 people talked about that there was an investigation going on, and they encouraged each other, because women shouldn't be allowed to encourage each other through difficult HR investigations in private amongst themselves, because Ty and Ricada and Umbrella Guy all think that they have the right to women's information, I guess. Or that women don't deserve privacy because they don't understand what the fuck any of these things mean, and women shouldn't be allowed to talk to each other, I guess. I don't fucking know. I don't know what to tell you. It's rules for everybody else and not for Vic. Vic is allowed to do whatever the fuck he wants, but nobody else is allowed to do any other reasonable thing. I don't know.
Appearance. After Monica secretly asked Funimation what she could say publicly, and when Funimation would make a statement, she, Miss Gibson, and Scott Barretto, Funimation's senior director of public relations, spoke via telephone on the 31st of January. That day, Ronald tweeted, "I know at least."
So what's the problem? There was an internal company investigation. The people involved were double-checking with each other about what information they were and were not allowed to share, and then they made statements. What's the problem? What delusional world do you all live in that you... Yeah, this is all hearsay anyway. Yeah, correct.
For assault.
This is just the statements of fact. They haven't actually. They're not presenting. This is the statements of facts in the appeal. I don't know what this has to do with the things that they initiated. Right? They said that all these things are reversible errors. And then these are the statements of fact. But they have not explained how any of these statements of facts even apply to the error at all yet. So far, this is just a waste of everybody's time and is a big stinking pile of nothing. So maybe they're going to get to it. I don't know. In conclusion,
canceled and the truth coming to light. That day, QuiCon canceled Vic's appearance. 3 days later, Monica likewise tweeted, "The truth will come out." Ronald later claimed,
"And what's the problem with any of those tweets? What's the problem? What's the issue? You mean when people get information about somebody that they change their decisions about that person based on new information? Yeah, that's normal. That's not tortious interference."
"I know without question he hurt people very close to me, that he was a predator, with over 100 ladies and counting coming forward with accusations against him." Afterward, Denver Comic-Con canceled Vic's appearance. On February the 5th, Ronald called out on Funimation to make a statement about Vic and for him to be banned indefinitely, again calling Vic a predator. Next 24 hours,
He's allowed to do that. That's not against the law.
SuperCon, Raleigh SuperCon, KamehaCon, Hudson Valley Comic-Con all canceled his appearance. February the 6th, you can see more statements there about Vic assaulting. Implied Vic was, well, you could see that word, called him a predator again, accused him of over 100 accounts there, and proclaimed that he wanted Vic blacklisted out of work. Later that day, Jamie announced that name and shame was faster than legal redress. On the 7th of February, emails Funimation, Trina Simon, Monica accused Vic of assaulting her in 2007. So you notice this is a totally different thing coming up. Ronald immediately took to the Twitter sphere to proclaim.
Oh my god, so that was Umbrella Guy adding in there that this is a totally different thing coming up. That's not how appeals work. We already went over that.
On the February the 8th, that Vic assaulted Monica and other actors, and he noted that Monica had been assaulted this certain way, her friends and countless fans, and again called Vic a predator. On the 9th, Jamie tweeted that Vic had assaulted her at Funimation's lobby by grabbing her hair, yanking her hair backwards, and whispering something in her ear, that he had done this exact same half a dozen times with other women that personally know, and that he was a predator. 2 days later, on the 11th, Funimation published.
This is in the statements of fact by Vic Mignogna. I'm pretty sure that means that it's being well established that Vic did this to these people, or at least did that to Jamie, right? Because they're saying, oh, Jamie tweeted that this happened, not this did happen. But from my recollection of the deposition and of the arguments henceforth, yeah, Vic grabbed her hair. And he just said it was playful. It's like, that's not a defense. That's you admitting you did it. What do you mean? Oh, good God. This is like the jelly bean thing. So he did it, but it was just meant to be playful. So you don't understand people's boundaries and don't respect people's boundaries. That's not a good thing to admit, because it makes you unhireable.
2 tweets. One, that following an investigation, Funimation will not be engaging Mignogna in future productions. And 2, we do not condone any kind of harassment or threatening behavior being directed at anyone. Responding directly to Funimation's tweet, Monica commented on Funimation's feed that there were multiple investigations with testimony, proof, and evidence. I am one of dozens of men and women who participated, and later tweeted, just so we're clear, he's the legal definition of harassment. Unsurprisingly, Funimation's Twitter followers declared they understood Funimation was saying its investigation had determined that Vic had engaged in harassing and threatening behavior. On the 16th, Ronald implied that Vic would be a registered offender. 3 days later, on the 19th, Monica tweeted that Vic had been
I want to be clear because, like, this is the way he's reading this is making it a little bit unclear. This says, on February 16th, 2019, Rawdon implied that Vic would be, quote, a registered sex offender, end quote. So the only part that's in quotes here is a registered sex offender, and then implied that they are saying that Ron implied that he's talking about Vic, not definitively that he was, right? So I just want to be clear here. The context of what is being said is not being presented within the statements of fact of this appeal. And again, this shit had already been thrown out once. So where's the justification for the appeal in this paperwork so far? There isn't any as of yet.
Accused of a certain type of harassment, alleging Vic had assaulted her by grabbing her by the hair, whispering in her ear, claims she witnessed him do it to many other people,
The way Umbrella Guy reads this without actually, like, he's so monotoned that he is not actually putting in necessary inflection, right? And I make fun of other people sometimes, like, particularly Erin. She's so bad at reading things where she just puts all this extra inflection and tone into things that she just invents in her head, which is really interesting, by the way, just as a side, that when somebody reads something out loud and that is informing you how they are reading it, and like the disconnect between what somebody said and the way she reads this out loud is like very baffling and very telling that she's not actually reading what people are saying. She's inventing this whole thing in behind it. But this is the same thing that Umbrella Guy is doing, but he's doing the opposite. He's actually removing any inflection and removing any grammar that is actually going to indicate to the listener what is actually being said. He's reading it, but he's not actually reading it. So, like, for example, 3 days later, bracket February 19th, 2019, Monica tweeted that Vic had been accused of sexual harassment, alleged Vic had assaulted her by grabbing her hair and whispering in her ear. She claimed she witnessed him doing it to so many people, claimed he had forced a kiss on her lips, quote, in the mid-2000s, and called him a predator. Those commas, that inflection is important because the actual quotes in this are only the words witnessed to so many people, mid-2000s, and predator. Those are the only things that are quoted from Monica's tweets. It doesn't actually quote of anything about Vic being accused of sexual harassment, alleging that he had assaulted her by grabbing her hair and whispering in her ear. None of those things are quoted. And it's important to differentiate when you are quoting something and when you are not quoting something. And if you do not differentiate those things by using tonality or by being clear when you say quote, like you say the word, to indicate that, Tug isn't doing any of those things. It's almost like he's trying to mesh together and make it sound like that whole thing is a quote. There is no differentiation between Monica tweeted that Vic had been accused of sexual harassment, alleged Vic had assaulted her by grabbing her hair and whispering in her ear, as if those things are quoted. Whispered in his ear, grabbed her hair. It sounds the exact same as claimed she witnessed him do it to so many people, claimed he had forced a kiss on her. Like, there's no inflection change. There's no actual indication of any change in the type of information that's being set out here. None of these things are a quote. None. Zero. There is not... This is just being imposed upon Monica without any actual quotations. Maybe she did. There's no period or quotes in this sentence. Predator, period. Called him a predator. Saying she said the word predator means nothing in a court of law. So what if she did? Now you have to, the number of hurdles you now have to jump over is like just based off of this. Not, like we're gonna take all the information that we know, we're gonna put it aside for now, right? Just based off of this paragraph alone, There is nothing that demonstrates or proves that they were even referring to Vic Mignogna. Because there's no context. They're just imposing context. Now, it might be true, it might not, but if this is the best you have, the number of hurdles you're going to have to jump over is getting more and more difficult. We've got a public figure, we've got a defamation case, and we have a real estate lawyer. So with that context, you're dealing with having to say, a registered sex offender, you have to look at the context, and then you have to say, well, in the context, we know that he's referring to Vic because of X, Y, and Z, and we can prove it because it's attached to this. But if it's not attached to anything, you're fucked. At least refer to exhibits when you include them. Yeah, that would be nice. Well, there's a reference to one of them. It says Predator 42. So I'm guessing that at least the Predator quote has a tie-in to it. Yeah, so presumably. But this video is definitely not long enough for UmbrellaGuy to have actually gone through that. Which might actually be more interesting. Going through the exhibits? Maybe? I don't know.
Being forced to kiss on her in the mid-aughts and called him a predator. Vic consistently denied these allegations against him and lost large amounts of income due to canceled conventions. Vic sued the appellees for defamation, tortious interference with current and prospective contracts, and civil conspiracy. He also alleged that Funimation was vicariously liable for the actions of Jamie and Monica. Appellees filed motion to dismiss under the TCPA. Vic moved to strike much of the appellees' evidence in support of their motion to dismiss. The trial court denied Vic's initial motion to strike Funimation's evidence.
Oh, interesting. So 42 in reference to so 42 was the number that was put beside the term predator in quotes, but what it quotes to is CR Volume 2 PP 794-97. So that's not referring CR. Also, even by this point, there has been legal precedent that has determined that calling someone a predator is a matter of opinion. He didn't say he was a convicted predator. That'd be different. Yes. Yes, correct. That is, yes. You have to establish, okay. All right. The bar of conversation is so low. It's so low. It's dead. It's 6 feet under. It's unalive. It's alive-int. It is an X-parrot. Okay? It doesn't exist anymore. The level of conversation is what is a fact, what is evidence, what is an opinion. I can't believe that when you're talking to people like ThatUmbrellaGuy, when you're talking to people like Nick Ricado, when you're talking to people like Yellow Flash, when you're talking to people like Aaron Costello, you have to start the conversation of what is an opinion. They don't know. They don't know what an opinion is. They cannot tell you the difference between an opinion, a desire, a fact, what is evidence. They think that you have to start with what is an opinion. That's how off in the weeds we are when we're talking to people like this. So far off in the weeds. Let alone when you start getting into nuances, where an opinion can be a fact. Where a fact can be evidence. But they can't even establish like a working definition. Let alone a legal definition. Like, the legal definition of opinion is pretty straightforward. It's pretty clear. The legal definition of harassment is pretty straightforward and pretty clear. I would say, based on words that Vic Mignogna has stated and behavior he has admitted to doing, he is the legal definition of harassment. That's an opinion. That's an opinion based on facts based on information, and I'm going to the direct source. I'm not even basing it off of hearsay. I'm not even basing off of somebody else's opinion. So in what world? In what fucking world? You can't have a conversation with somebody like that umbrella guy about something like this. He doesn't know what harassment is. He doesn't know what an opinion is. Because if he were to define it, he would look ridiculous. Absolutely absurd. Because as soon as you define it, you go, oh, you mean this thing that you do, and this thing that you do, and this thing that you do, and this thing that you do? To be fair, it can sometimes be quite nebulous as to what an opinion is an opinion or a fact. Some accusations are considered a statement of fact, particularly when it's concerning something like a domestic abuser. Yeah, oh, absolutely, yes. An opinion can be a statement of fact, right? But we can't even get there. We can't even get into that conversation because we have to establish a working definition in the first place. If we can't establish a working definition, then we can't get into nuance. Where it's just like, okay, well, in this situation, this, or well, in this situation, that. They're living in, well, this situation, this, and this situation, that, without actually having a working structure or foundation in the first place. That's why we have to go through and look up fucking things like reversible error. Well, okay, what is a reversible error, and what does it need? And I'm gonna read it again. The standard for reversible error is no judgment may be reversed on appeal on the grounds that the trial court made an error of law unless the Court of Appeals concludes that the error complained of, 1, probably caused the rendition of an improper judgment, or 2, probably prevented the appellant from properly presenting the case to the Court of Appeals. Nothing in this so far reaches either standard. It doesn't even come close. It's not even trying. It's just restating its shit over again. Restating your shit over again is not going to change what the outcome would have been. If anything, and I said this before, if Vic wanted to continue this fight and wanted to continue this in a legal matter, which, by the way, he said he would do, he said he was going to keep going. I don't know what the fuck that looks like when he's telling his audience that he's going to keep doing this when it's been thrown out. He can't keep going. Is that I'm losing my mind. I hate this shit. These people are fucking stupid.
During the motion to dismiss hearing and in its October 4th, 2019 hearing, the trial court indicated that it would not consider anything filed by appellees after a 60-day TCPA filing deadline.
And yes, Feline makes a really good point. You recall when Miss Heard, Amber Heard, called herself a victim of domestic violence. She can't hide behind that being opinion because either she is or is not. Yes. If you make a statement about this thing happened to me, and that thing is an act of violence, that's not an opinion, right? That's you're stating a fact of the matter, not I feel like I was. It's like not, you can't feel like you were abused. You were abused or you weren't if you're making that kind of a statement. If you're saying that when he spoke to me this way, it felt a way, that you could get away with, right? Or whatever, right? You could say that there are nuances to the way people speak, and there are rules around what you're doing, and especially when you write an op-ed, for example, yes.
Vic filed a written response to appellees' motions to dismiss and amended his petition. However, the trial court refused to consider his amended and supplemented petition. After a hearing, the trial court granted appellees' TCPA motion. After a subsequent hearing, the trial court entered its final judgment, ordering Vic to pay attorney's fees and sanctions. So this appeal ensued. So you have the argument.
Alright, so after all of that, this is now the end of the video. The only argument is the court didn't accept our appended motion. Right? our amended petition, our multiple times amended petition, the court didn't accept it. Therefore, we're appealing. Okay.
That are going with this too. You can see what kind of argument would come through that. You can see how this is going to lay out. The document is...
Wait, why are you skipping the argument? Wait, why are you skipping the argument that has all the citations in it as to why any of these things would be relevant? Wait, why are you skipping this part? This is the part that might actually have the things we can talk about in it. This is the part that's important. Are you fucking serious? I sat here this whole time, listened to you re-spew all this unestablished fucking bullshit. Listen to you make these fucking statements reading this out as if they were facts of the matter. And now you're not even going to fucking read through the part that's actually important? Why are you skipping over the important part? Why are you skipping over the argument as to why any of this matters? And why? Yeah, I am. I'm feeling cheated. I'm being ripped off right now. I was promised the appeal. Oh yeah, Ron and Monica have to afraid, guys. They have to afraid. Are you afraid? You have to. I want a divorce. This wasn't the agreement. Come on, dude. What do you mean? Monica's accusations, Sony investigation, Vic's background, like... You, dude. Come on. Like, the stuff he's skipping over literally says the trial court committed reversible error by dismissing Vic's claims for defamation, tortious interference with existing contracts, and tortious interference with prospective business relations because Vic presented clear and specific evidence of a prima facie case against all appellees. The trial court's dismissing Vic's claims against Funimation for vicarious liability likewise constituted reversible error because he presented clear and specific evidence. Like, they're just saying that the court didn't agree with us, and that's it. Which is why this is fucking so... There is no prima facie case. Yeah, correct. Like, do you think that maybe he's skipping over this is because their entire argument for this is, they didn't agree with us. That's not how an appeal works. Of course your appeal is gonna get thrown out because you're just saying we didn't get the answer we wanted. Like, that's not how it works.
Arguments that are going with this too.
Oh, yeah, the arguments that are going with this that I'm not going to read out because they're going to make me look like a fucking idiot. Look, haha, I can make a funny voice too, jackass. Are you fucking serious?
You can see what kind of argument would come through that. You can see how...
What do you mean? He's literally not reading the argument that would come through and relying on his not legal expertise audience to just come to conclusions on their own without actually looking at the legal argument. What? That's not how you don't... Unbelievable. These people like to complain about guilty until proven innocent, or like people making conclusions off of accusations. That's what you're doing. Because the statements of fact aren't inherently statements of fact, because that's not what it means. Statements of fact in this context doesn't mean they're stating factual and true things. That's not how it works. It's just the foundation of what you're working on to make your argument. You're literally setting your audience up to come to conclusions and draw conclusions about the court, about Vic, about Monica, about Funimation, about Ron, and about Jamie, without actually presenting anything and telling them, well, you could see where the argument would go from here, but I'm not going to read that part. I'm going to read you all this stuff you didn't need instead and pretend that this is a really good point. Suck it. Like, what? This is meaningless. Unbelievable.
This is going to lay out. The document is available for everyone out there too. I mean, you can look at all of the cases here as well. I'm sure that this is something Rekieta Law will go into, other folks, as well as all of the tweets that have been find in that. You have Jamie's, you have Monica's, you have Ron's tweets. You have all of this laid out. It's easily accessed. There are 60 pages here that lay out everything, including Funimation and on. I think this, like I said, it actually lays out.
Guys, there's lots and lots of stuff definitely that backs this case up, but I'm not going to show you any of it. I'm not going to show you any of the stuff that definitely backs up these arguments and definitely backs up my side. If you want to go look at it, there's a whole 60 page. I have so much evidence. Look at my 60 pages of evidence that I'm not going to actually show you. I'm just going to wave it around and pretend it means anything. Holy shit. There's a reason why hardly any of the law tubers covered this, because it's all hogwash. That should be a reason why they did cover it. They should have covered it because it was bullshit and because there was a bunch of there was a giant ass harassment campaign built around it. There's some money in this fucking situation. The fact that none of them did cover it actually tells me something else, but maybe I'll talk about that another time. The average Filipina is 4'10". Are you shorter than the average Filipina? I can neither confirm nor deny.
Everything. It lays it out easily understood, and it'll be interesting to see where this goes. I'm wondering, when you look at this, though, what do you think will happen? How do you think this will go out? I mean, for myself, I hope, but at the same time, I don't know what I think about the court system.
You don't know what you think about the court system? So you just are throwing the entire case under the bus because the court system doesn't agree with you, and because the court system doesn't agree with you because you're factually wrong about shit, instead of changing your mind and your idea about the things you are factually wrong about, you're just gonna be like, well, obviously the court system's just corrupt because I'm smart and everybody else is stupid. Like, but either you agree with me and you're smart, or if you don't agree with me, you don't understand what I'm saying, because I can't ever possibly be wrong, right? God.
So, very briefly, I want to thank you for showing up. Thank you for participating. You always
Oh my God, you are so fucking welcome, you piece of shit.
Stuff possible. I appreciate you being here. That's why I always say this. If you would share this stuff, let people know what's going on. That's awesome. And also sub to the channel.
Oh my God, you're so welcome. I am sharing this thing and I'm letting people know what's going on, and that you are a fucking liar who doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about and simply has an agenda. Good fucking God. Unbelievable. These people are fucking unbelievable. Get me out. Can I go? Can we leave? Are we done here? I feel like we're kind of like... Again, you'll notice that none of these people... I looked. You tell me if I missed one. Please send it to me. Please let me know. And show me where there is coverage of any of these fucking people actually properly covering any of this to say that, well, Vic lost this thing and here's why he lost it. And it's actually the information. Because I haven't seen a single update from these people that actually... isn't just excuses and then coming up with this new narrative. Right? That's all it ever is. None of it's just like, well, he lost, here's the information. It's always like, well, Vic's actually winning though, but Vic's actually winning though, but Vic is actually winning though, and here's why this is actually in our favor. Right? It's never actually just an acknowledgement of, whoops, or uh-oh, or no, or like, Vic lost, boo-hoo. Like, unreal. Unfucking believable. Alright, I'm gonna go. We got, I think it's telling. I think it's telling that this appeal went through, Yellow Flash didn't cover it, UmbrellaGuy covered it, and then they all stopped making, the only person who kept making content about Vic Mignogna was Nick Rekieta, and then he stopped covering it. And then they never actually, like... put like the plug, put the stamp of it, like this is how it concluded. None of them have made a video that is like, this is how it concluded, this is what we got wrong, this is what we got right, and this is what happened. Not a single fucking one of them. If any of them did, please send me that video because I have not been able to find it. They all just cut off and stopped talking about it. And I think that should tell you, I think that tells you a lot, and who I think should really pay attention to this is the Vic Mignogna, the Vic Mignogna followers who were supporting these fucking people. And I think those people should demand some accountability from these YouTubers who took advantage of them. That's what I think they should do, but that's just up to me. After asking people for money for it, right, exactly, off of your backs. These guys were making money, making bank, building their channels off of your backs, and they didn't even get, not only did they give you false hope and lie to you about the legal system, but they also never actually gave you the correct information after the fact. They just left you out to dry, and I think you should care. I care. I think that's horseshit. Yeah. Absolutely. Go correct the information. Jesus Christ. Have some integrity. Have some balls. Fucking bunch of cowards. Anyway, I'm gonna get out of here. Thank you so much for joining me. I will be back next Monday. Next Monday we're talking about... We're gonna be back to Rakita. And we're gonna look at Rakita's last video about Vic Mignogna. And then we'll cover the Yellow Flash's last video, and then we will cover the Umbrella Guy's last video. Once we're done all of those, we'll probably pick and choose a couple out of there that are particularly egregious, as they made a handful of videos that were specifically targeting people for harassment. Because that's all this is. It's a harassment group built around fake moral outrage to scam money from people. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. God. Alright, bye. Thanks, everybody. Fuck these people. They're all stupid, and, they should feel embarrassed. Bye! Oh, by the way, yeah, I'm taking a break from streaming, but go follow Debate Hub, because there's stuff coming out over there. Okay, bye.